Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades.
All right. Welcome to Gas Masks and Hand Grenades. I'm your host, Jeff, and tonight I've got not one great dude, but I've got two great dudes from the band Nite. And this guy is making his return. He's like, oh no, not that guy again. Avinash Mittur from the band Nite. He is the bass player, and we've got a guitar player with us tonight. I thought I was going to have the whole rhythm section, and then it got switched up on me today.
We threw curves.
Which is good because you can see I'm a guitar nerd. So we're going to definitely talk about riffs because this fucking new album is a riff fiesta, man. It is just so good. So the reason we're here, guys, is we're here to talk about the third Nite album, which is coming out on March 14th on Season of Mist. And first of all, why don't you guys introduce yourselves real quick and tell us the name of the new album. How about you, Avinash? You want to go first?
Yeah, so my name is Avinash. Plenty of friends call me Avi. And I play bass in Nite.
Cool. Scott?
And my name is Scott Hoffman. I play guitar in Nite. And the name of the new album is Cult of the Serpent Sun. And as you said, coming out on March 14th.
Yeah, and we're going to show it in a minute here. I'm going to pull it up. And I'm actually going to do something tonight I don't typically do. I don't typically play advanced stuff, but I think I can get away with playing. Are you guys cool with me playing tiny little bits?
Sure.
I'm down. Let's do it.
We got to hear some of these fucking riffs, man. They're so goddamn good. It's like the world needs to hear this so that you guys sell a bunch of albums and become massive superstars, right? You know?
That's right.
So listen, man, thank you guys for doing this, number one. And I have to send out my props to Will over at Season of Mist. He's my dude. He always hooks me up. And I guess it was about 6 weeks ago, somewhere in that range. He's always like tempting me. You know, he's like, dude, guess what's coming out soon? So he kind of knows the bands on their roster that I really love.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember when I told sometime last year, I'm like, yeah, man, dude, if Nite comes out with something soon, you have to let me be first. I got to be first in line. So he's like, cool. So a couple of weeks ago, he sent it to me, but I had a lot of shit going on. And I didn't really get to listening to it until the last 10 days or so. And man, I'm just telling you, like when I first heard the album, so here's my story real quick, okay?
Yeah.
When I first heard the album, because I fucking love Kronian Moons. I love that album so much. And I'm like, man, this is going to be so hard to top. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Expectations are everything.
Expectation thing of, well, dude, how the hell do we top that, right?
No pressure.
No pressure, exactly. So I put this album on and I started going down through the tracks and I'm like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't know, man. Is it as good as Kronian? Is it? So then I got to the specific track, one track, and I'm listening to this track. I'm like, oh man, guys, why did you do that track? Now, do you want to guess what track that is?
I can venture a guess. Yeah.
All right, take a guess.
Track 4, The Mystic.
You got it. Yep. I'm like, all right, man, now they're trying to be prog. They're trying to be Rush. They're trying to be fucking Faith Warning. Like, what's the deal?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right. So I talked to Will. I'm like, dude, he's like, what'd you think? I'm like, some monster tracks on here. Just some monstrous tracks. I said, but they did this weird track called The Mystic. I'm like, I'm not feeling it, man. I don't know what the deal is. I'm not like there. And he goes, well, that's cool because that's their favorite track on the album. I'm like, fucking A, man. Of course it is.
Always the weird one, right? It's always the
right.
oddball.
But here's the weird deal. So today, I bet you I've listened to this album, I'm not lying, probably 8 or 9 times in a row.
Wow.
And it never gets stale. It's never like I'm like, all right, let's skip that track. Let's skip that track. And the great news is the Mystic has come to me.
It's grown on you. Yeah.
I've immersed myself in it, and it is now a really cool track. I still am like, I don't know which one I like better, but I don't have to like one better than the other. I can like them both, you know.
Yeah.
So tell me, guys, was there any pressure? Did you feel pressure to try to top the last album with this album? Like, I mean, as musicians, we always want to do better than the last thing we did because we
Right.
feel like we're only as
Yeah,
good as our last good song that we wrote, right? But what were you thinking going into this, and how long was the gestation period?
Mm.
Who are the primary writers? How's that process start? And Avinash, I'll start with you, and you guys can just jump in and do your thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So I guess there's a couple questions in there, right? First
Right.
off, if you feel any pressure? I mean, in a sense, sure. I mean, I think Voices of Kronian Moon, it was received so well. Like, we were like so blown away by how much people liked it. And so, yeah, that alone was like, oh, damn, okay, we got to top that.
Right.
And also, it's like when you go to outer space, it's almost like the kind of thing where it's like, where do you go from there?
Right.
And we floated around a bunch of different ideas. At one point, we were talking about like a medieval kind of thing, a more gothic kind of thing. But we kept going back to it's like we wanted like some kind of urban environment that kind of kept recurring a little bit. And after some time, it kind of went actually further urban. It went underground. It went like subterranean even.
So real quick, there's kind of not a concept here, but or is there a concept that's running throughout?
No, not a concept, but more like these are more like internal things where we're just like, it helps to have even just something to hang on to or some kind of focus, just to, even if it doesn't translate later to what the actual listener hears, it just kind of gives us like something to hang on to, and like obviously it kind of evolved, and we were like just kind of imagery and things that we play around with, and things that inspire us, and we had this kind of street vibe, and then we went a little more cult or mystical, like more tarot cards, more the occult, the unseen. The name of the band is Nite, so we often come back to those central themes. So yeah, that was kind of it. There isn't, so to answer your question, there isn't a concept, maybe a vague through line, or just a vague kind of coherence, but there's no big central point or concept.
Now, do you guys all write? Do you get in the jam space and jam these songs out, or are you, Scott or Van, are you guys demoing tracks, or even like give me the gist of how these things start and how they snake out and become full songs then?
Nite is very much like the creative engine is Van for sure. Like he's just a prolific dude and super talented, obviously. And so the vast majority of it comes from him, and we kind of serve more as sounding board and editors, and he really feeds off like what we react to. His demoing is prolific, like, so I use that word already, but he's always coming out, and his demos, he's so good at audio engineering that they sound like most bands' finished albums, so we're spoiled in that way.
Nice. Yeah.
They don't have vocals often, but they're the music's done. And so we get a lot of material from him, and then we help him kind of refine it as a group, and we arrangement stuff. This is working, let's cut this in half, let's expand this, this needs something, but he's very much the primary the riff master.
Okay, I see. So like when he's demoing tracks, I'll pull you up for this, Avinash. When he gives you demos, and you're saying they from what it sounds like, Scott, you're kind of saying they're pretty damn well finished demos. They're almost like studio quality. Does he then have the parts and be like, hey, you interpreted the way you want, or hey, no, it has to be this way exactly, or how's that work? Because I mean, like, I'm assuming he's programming drums.
Yeah, program drums. Mm-hmm.
And then he probably throws in, does he really go as far as like all the multi-part harmony guitars that are already
A lot of
Okay,
times,
so
yeah, no, it depends.
okay.
Some of them, it's a continuum, but yeah, a lot of times it's like,
Wow.
his leads will be in there, like his solos will be in there, like it's pretty complete.
Yeah, so these demos, well, so there's a subtlety between Voices of the Kronian Moon and Cult of the Serpent Sun here. And the subtlety is the pandemic, unfortunately, in that
Right.
so what Scott mentioned earlier, where we were kind of like giving our input on the arrangements and like, hey, what if this part is like a chuggy, like gallop thing as opposed to a straight or something like that? We all had to kind of convey that over Zoom calls and emails back when we were
Right.
making Voices of the Kronian Moon. And yeah, like email sending files back and forth. And so that's how that record had to be made. And so, we had some level of input, but there's only so much you can express over a keyboard, like a
Right.
non-musical instrument keyboard. So, but this time with every demo that Van brought, we tried it in the room. We may not have played the song start to finish in the room, but like every song we tried out at least like a verse and chorus, solo section, et cetera, et cetera. Most of these songs we did play start to finish in the room. And so they weren't simply just studio creations.
Right.
But so yeah, that did help us have a lot of input in the arrangements and stuff. And the email thing still happened. We still like would send each other notes that way too. But what would also happen is that, Van would send us these demos. And so you mentioned this earlier, Jeff, where it's like, he might have notes like, okay, this is kind of a verbatim harmony. But the other spots where it's like he might have put down like a placeholder lead or something like that. And it's like, Scott, do your thing. And Scott would come up with a brand new, fresh solo that had nothing to do with Van's original idea.
Yeah.
And that happened a few times with the drums and the bass lines too. He might have had a drum machine in there and Pat would say like, okay, I think this drum beat would actually work a lot better. Right. And in my case, like there's stuff where Van would lay down like a scratch bass line and it'd be like, okay, this is cool. I actually think this picking pattern just feels more natural to me, or I think this lines up with what you're doing better, you being whether it's Van or Scott or Pat, etc.
Yeah.
And so there was room for interpretation, there was room for rewriting and throwing out what was there before, and there were some bits and pieces where it was like, nah, this is the part we need you to do it note for note.
Well, so I know that Nite is not like it's not like a Metallica. It's not a business at this point, right?
Right. No.
But so it's more of a labor of love and whatnot, but which is sometimes makes the best albums, of course. But I guess how often are you guys now? Once I guess the pandemic kind of came to an end. I guess kind of in 22 for most of us,
yeah,
or mid 22, late 22, and you guys actually did, I believe, your first like real tour, right? When you went to Hell's Heroes last year around this time, you did like a Southwest tour, right?
Yeah, we kind of did two. We did the same thing 2 years apart. So we did the first one, I guess, Avi, you can correct me here. The first one was right when things started opening up again, like
April 2022.
Right. So and then
you played Hell's first in 22.
Yeah, we were on the warm up day that year.
Okay,
like the Thursday.
Okay.
But we did the same route essentially. We opened for our pals Bewitcher on that run, and Kid did a loop there, and then we basically did a version of the same thing just this past year, 2024. We did our own little headline run, same kind of out and back to Texas loop for Hell's Heroes. So we've kind of done that. That's really the only touring we've done. We're trying to do more.
Are you doing local shows at all though? Like, have you done any local?
Yeah. We're fairly active. We don't want to overdo it. Obviously, you never want to get people sick of you, but we do a decent number of Bay Area shows a year.
And Avi, you're in like 18,000 bands or something like that, and Scott, are you in a bunch of different bands or just?
I'm in High Spirits, which is another.
That's right, you're in High Spirits too. I totally forgot. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's another thing, and then to this is kind of a very a rare thing, but last year my other project Dawnbringer reactivated for a little bit, so I had a couple shows with that. So yeah, we're all Pat's in other bands too. So we it's like everyone's doing multiple bands these days, so it's sometimes hard to do the schedule, but I'd say Nite's a priority for all of us. So
Van comes to you with these demos. Are you pretty much doing the actual record? Are you going to a studio recording, or is this pretty much home recording?
For Nite, we're spoiled in this sense in that Van has lengthy career in professional audio engineering, and
Okay.
Avi does too. Avi does a lot of audio engineering too. So we have two talented people, and so it's a kind of a two-part answer. It's home recording, but it's very good home recording. Like we are able to stretch our budget by not having to go into a by the hour pro studio. We just have some good mics and some gear, and we just make it.
Logic or Pro Tools or
what does Van use?
Yeah, so funny question there, Jeff. Van uses
neither. What's that?
He uses Ableton.
Oh shit, man, that's going way back. Holy hell!
He uses Ableton.
I mean, I'm sure he's using a new version, but I mean, Ableton was, to my memory, was one of the very first music softwares going.
Well, now it's more. I feel like it's. Avi can correct me. I feel like it's honestly more popular in the electronic music scene.
Glitch, for glitch scene and
But all DAWs are the same essentially. It's whatever you're used to. So that's the one Van likes to use. So we're spoiled. We got the pro home studio is kind of what we have.
That's kind of nice. That's kind of nice to have that option. Avi, so when you're a drummer, you're a multi-instrumentalist, right? Because I know you play drums for Goro and other bands, and then do you play guitar too? I imagine you do. Right?
Guitar was actually the first instrument I learned when I was a teenager,
nice.
but I never took it seriously. Like I would never join a metal band as a guitar player. I'm straight up not proficient enough at that instrument to pull it off.
That's funny. Scott, how about you? Are you a multi-instrumentalist as well?
Not really. No, I'm a guitar guy. I'll dabble in bass, but not like I wouldn't call myself a bass player really. I've done some shouting and screaming on different projects and bands, but pretty much just a guitar guy. No drums, no keyboard.
That's a great segue. Shouting and screaming. So the thing that I think that really sets Nite apart from a lot of bands, and you've heard this a million times, I'm sure, is Van's vocals. They're not like anybody I can point a finger at. Now, I explained it in my little post. I don't know if you saw it, but I said it's kind of like a weird, fucked up version of Lemmy mixed with Kronos, mixed with a little bit of Abbath. But none of it's like black metal per se, because you can understand every word.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not like, he doesn't have a typical melody line to his way of singing. It's kind of, in a weird way, I'd explain it as almost like it's in this range that kind of goes like this. It's almost like there's not a lot of peaks and valleys.
No, it's pretty monotone, but
yeah, it's monotone. But the weird thing about it is with the processing and the way that he enunciates and the way he sings, it's very unique.
Yeah.
I mean, just really, I can't think of anyone that sounds like him. And I think that when the first time I heard Kronian, because I can't remember, I think my buddy on Thralls of Metal, Nick, was like, hey, have you checked this out, man? Because you love traditional metal and you love fucking Thin Lizzy and Merciful Fate, and this is like right up your alley. And I put it on. At first, I'm like, I'm not sure about these vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I gotta sit with them a little bit. Yeah. But now it's kind of like the signature thing, I think, that really, in a lot of ways, sets you guys apart. I mean, are you guys familiar with bands like Eternal Champion and Summerlands? Okay, so really similar bands to you in some respects, very kind of rooted in the early to mid 80s with a little bit of 70s vibes from like Priest and early Maiden, maybe early 80s, the Paul Di'Anno era of Maiden. And then you got some great Thin Lizzy harmonies in there that just saturate your brain. There's so many hooky moments in your stuff, but what again sets it off in that weird place is Van's vocals.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have a vocalist? And I know Avi, you came in late, but in the second album. But was there ever a vocalist, or was Van always the vocalist right from the start?
I'm gonna go from what I remember here. So I actually joined. I was on the first album, but I joined right when they were done, basically. So I didn't have any part in like writing it. The songs were done when I joined, and I just kind of quickly, learned it and got ready for shows. And we took our photos, and we were off and running. But from what Van and Pat, who are the founders, told us, I think, Avi, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think they did try a few people. Like they didn't really know what they wanted. Like, Van, I think originally didn't want to sing or
Right.
vocalize. So I think they tried some people, but just never, found someone who worked. And then, Van just decided to do himself is my vague recollection.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's pretty accurate. Van, I think early on, and even in my first year or two in the band, was always kind of a reluctant vocalist. He was like, he'd always be like, I consider myself more of a guitar player, etc., producer even. But I think he's really come into his own, especially on this album. I think he's metaphorically and literally found his voice in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And to this day, he's always saying, he said this back then, and he says this right now, is that the black metal voice, or whatever you want to call it, the Lemmy Kronos, you had some good analogies in there.
Right.
Is his best way to express his voice. I think singing melodically like that wouldn't come naturally to him compared to doing this. This is the voice of Nite.
Right.
Yeah, it definitely is. He probably saw that and was like, fuck this guy. What's he talking about? I don't sound like Lemmy.
Well, what's funny is we've gotten the Lemmy thing, or he's gotten in reviews and other things, the Lemmy thing a few times, which we never heard. I can kind of hear it now, with hearing it. I'm like, oh yeah, but it never occurred to us. But yeah, we've gotten that from a couple, even random YouTube comments and stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of like that delivery Lemmy has, that rasp.
Yeah, the gruffness.
The gruff rasp, but it's not like Van has it fairly affected, it sounds like. At various points there's a lot of gated reverb I hear, sometimes where it kind of envelopes it, where it kind of stretches it, and so it doesn't sound like Lemmy. But that was like the very first time I heard Kronian, I'm like, because I do this, as a musician, I'm like, all right, who does this sound like? Like, what?
Everything's influenced by something. Yeah.
Why do I love this? Why am I digging this? It must be something that I heard back in when I was a kid in the 70s or 80s. When I was a teenager. And the first thing that struck me, I'm like, oh yeah. And a lot of times I'll be like fighting it. I'll be listening to an album going, all right, this is driving me nuts, man. Who does this sound like? And I can't figure it out. And then suddenly I'm like, oh fuck, it's Lemmy. That's
what it is. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And it's like this weird thing. And then suddenly I can kind of settle into new music. I don't know. It's just
sometimes all it takes is like unlocking that puzzle in your brain, and then you're like, oh, this works for me. Like you see it from a different angle or something.
Now, Scott, on the guitars, are all the guitars, your guitars and Van's, are you miking cabinets, or are you doing all plugins for the most part?
Very good question. This album, we had you asked earlier about the gestation period too. This one took a long time, partially just because it did, and then we had time we kind of thought it would come out earlier, and then just Season Mist has a lot of bands, so the release calendar is really long, and we had to make some choices about just when would be the right time to come out. So we kind of picked a later date, which gave us more time to tinker. How you can't leave it alone, right?
Yeah.
so the recording process was pretty long. To answer your question about what the guitars are, most of it is plugins.
Okay.
Ben is fully unafraid of using digital stuff, and he's good at it, and he can make it sound like whatever he needs it to sound like. But he did, towards the end, when we had that little bit of playtime or buffer time, whatever, he did experiment with some mic'd cabs. So I think it's a blend of plugins and mic'd cabs.
So he did some reamping then at some point in time, yeah. And the guitars sound fucking so epic on this album, man. I mean, like, I know I sound like a fanboy here, but I'm just like, it's so weird. I hadn't listened to the album for about a week. Yesterday, in prep to start getting my head in the headspace, because I had like a Kate Bush thing going on and a Sabotage thing that I'm doing, and so like all this shit I was trying to get together. I had the Sabotage guys on it last week.
I saw it,
yeah, and so I had to put it aside for a little bit. And when I came back to it, I'm like, yeah, this is the shit right here. I mean, I'm gonna tell you straight up, this is an album of the year contender for me already.
Wow.
Thanks, Jeff.
There's some great stuff coming.
Yeah.
I mean, just on Season Mist alone, the great old ones they just put out back in January is killer. Steven Wilson is coming out next month. So, so many good albums. Hooded Menace, I heard. I don't know if you know those guys.
Oh, yeah. I know that material. It's so good.
So, yeah. Actually, Will texted me the other day. He says, got the Hooded Menace demo. I'm like, you fuck are you? I'm like, yeah, now you're gonna tease me about it until November, man.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it's damn the guitars on this, and not to, I mean, not to like diminish you and Pat's input, but man, I'm a guitar nerd, so I love great guitar melodies, and this album is just filled with them. So, on that note, how about we send a few samples out, let people hear a little bit about what I'm talking
Sure.
about?
What do you want to showcase?
Well, I want to talk about. Let me pull up the link. Just give me 1 minute here, okay?
Well, Jeff, while you're pulling that up, maybe so Scott was talking about how the guitar tones are a mix of amp sims and
Right.
cabs and amps. So there is a guitar track in there that uses my Marshall JCM 800 amp in there.
Ooh.
And that's the same amp used on the Hands of Goro record for quite a few songs.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so a little bit of a family connection there.
All right, now I have a weird thing going on here. Give me 1 sec, guys.
Sure, no problem.
I literally lost you. I don't know where you went.
Oh, no.
Like, I seriously lost the window. What is going on here?
We're here. We didn't.
No, I know you are. I can hear you, but I can't see you. What the hell is going on? This is bizarre. I've never had this happen. Give me a minute, guys.
Yeah, no worries.
Fix it in post.
Yeah, right.
Well, no, we're live. That's the weird.
The internet knows.
Yeah, but I'm like weirding out. Like I completely lost the window you guys are in. How's that possible?
Well, I'll ramble a little while you search, but you were talking about the guitars, and I appreciate all the positive things you said there, and like just from things that Van has said and the way we describe ourselves, like it is a Nite purposefully is a guitar forward band. We're back.
Sorry.
And we're even kind of relating to the vocals we were just talking about. Part of it's like it's all in service of the whole, but part of why Van's vocals are like that is, to him, it's like the guitars are, in a way, they're kind of the voice too. Like that's the melody, all the melody comes from the guitars.
Yes.
And then his voice is more of a narrative and also percussive. Just kind of that's the anger to kind of blend this black metal into the 80s metal sound.
That's a great way of putting it, because yes, the guitars are the melodic driver of every song. Every song has killer fucking hooks, and they're all guitar driven.
Yeah, big melodies.
And so I hadn't thought about that until you just said it that way. That usually in most music, it's the vocal melody that carries, and then you get your solos and you get your riffs and stuff. But what's super cool about Nite is, and I have both of the first two albums. I hate to say I don't remember much about the first one as much because I haven't listened to it in quite a while.
Yeah.
But I did recently jam Kronian, and the thing that jumped out at me right away was literally every one of these things is like an earworm that gets stuck in your head. And so on that line, real quick, and then we'll play some stuff here. Like, who would you say, Scott, are your main influences? And if you can speak for Van a little bit, I'm sure you've been playing with him for quite a while, so you probably know who his go-to guys are that he chooses to use as influences. Someone, okay.
Yeah. I mean, and there's obviously some that are common between us. It's no surprise that Iron Maiden is huge, and who isn't it, doesn't have some Maiden influence, but Van is a diehard Maiden fan, and that certainly in writing style and just melody, that's a huge guitar influence. In his leads and things like that, he uses a lot of interesting, maybe not your standard modes. He uses a lot of more of the exotic sounding modes and stuff. It's fun. I'm not going to know all the people he's, kind of pulling from there, but, Marty Friedman, Avi might know some here too, but
I hear some Blackmore. I hear quite a bit of Blackmore in there, like circa like Rainbow. And of course, the Thin Lizzy guys, Robbo, and not that they sound like that,
but it's in that world.
Yeah.
Right.
How about you? What are some of your favorite players?
For me, like the specific things that I gravitate to are a little more like, I like a lot of more doomy, gothier stuff. So I love, the Euro bands like Paradise Lost and Amorphous, and even going back to the Gothenburg, like Dark Tranquillity stuff. So a little more, just that Euro sound.
Yeah, you can definitely hear some Inflamed stuff in here too, in terms of not so much the Gothenburg sound, but just some of the dynamics of the interweaving harmonies of the guitar, which are, again, I cannot express enough how fucking killer the guitars are on this album.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
So let's try this. Now let's see if I don't screw this up here. I'm going to actually start with my favorite. Let me find it here. Yeah. This might be my favorite guitar orgy moment on the album. All right. I'm trying not to be super hyperbolic here, but this is like a fucking orgy of guitar shit right here. So give me one moment. I have to turn one thing off in my audio.
Right.
And we shouldn't talk during the sample here. I'm going to play about 30 seconds or so.
Got it.
Because I have to turn echo cancellation off so that it carries through. All right. Let's see if this works. Hopefully it works. Let me know if you can hear this. Just give me 2 thumbs up if you can hear it properly, okay? That fucking riff. So good. So goddamn good. Holy fuck. That shit is golden.
Nice.
I'm echoing a little. Let me turn that off for a minute. So talk about the winds of Sokar, because man, that I'm not lying. That is just a motherfucking orgy of goddamn killer riffs.
It's so epic. It's a very epic part. Van kind of wrote most of the what you played there. He had that kind of almost cyclical building, just kind of like that triplet feel, and it's just such an epic build. And then right kind of close to where you stopped there was there's a 2-part lead section, and I did the first lead that was playing just
well, let's play that real quick. I didn't mean to cut it off.
No, that's okay.
But the tricky bit is that in order for this to translate through the streaming software, I have to cut echo cancellation because it'll sound really muted. So then we can't really talk, and then I always want to talk because I never know when to shut the fuck up. But it's just it's so damn good. So hang on a minute. We'll go back.
Sure.
We'll finish that up. So,
Nice.
all right, this is what I get when I listen to that song. I literally feel like I'm riding on the back of a dragon, a fire-breathing dragon that is like going. You're a million miles up in hyperspace, and you're just flying along, and you're like, just bring it, bitches, bring it. So good, so good. All right, we're gonna hit another couple tracks. Sure. The next song I want to talk about. Man, I want to say this is my favorite track, but like all the tracks are my favorite tracks, man. It's terrible. I hate you guys for this. All right. Let me see here. We're gonna go with my favorite song, and we're gonna listen to a good bit of it. So
okay.
very priesty. You're gonna go through the chorus. Those stacked harmonies, man. So good. All right, tell me a little bit about that song. I'm assuming Van wrote that too, but like, okay, I gotta. Shit. I wish there was a button I could just push to.
Yeah.
Sorry. Any thoughts on that one, Avi?
Yeah, so The Last Blade actually was the first kind of complete song written for the record after, like, we got that one cooking pretty quick. Like, God, I want to say the summer 2022. It was like not long after Kronian Moon came out.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, you know, that was the first thing where we were like saying we want to kind of take on a new, like, kind of more street level attitude with this. And Van came up with that, which we instantly just made all of us just be like, wow, oh my God, yeah, that's it. That's the vibe. That's kind of what we're really hoping to go for. And
real quick, I'm just, I think you just kind of answered the question I had, but when you hear these songs and you guys start jamming them in your rehearsal space, you guys looking around at each other going, yeah, fuck yeah. Like, fuck yeah. Like, you just get that vibe where you're like, this is so happening. This track is so badass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, Van's picked up on that energy from all of us on many, many different occasions. And this is one where, yeah, all of us were just like, yes, this rules. Mm-hmm. And and it did evolve actually, like even throughout, like got up to like 2023 or something like that. There was like a new ending added that, you know, kind of evolved and went to a whole different place. Mm-hmm. But this song actually, as far as the bass goes, so Van actually writes a lot of the songs from scratch on bass.
Oh, really?
He has a deep appreciation and respect and admiration for bass, like Steve Harris and Cliff Burton and Jason. Sure. Said all those guys are among just as much heroes to him as guitar players.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so Last Blade, he gave all of us the demo, and I looked at the bass and I was like, holy shit! Like it's a you may not be able to hear it right away, but it's actually a really pretty busy bass.
Yeah, it's a very busy bass line, which is super cool.
Yeah, really cool. And so that was actually a really fun challenge for me to learn that one. And
you play fingerstyle, I believe, right?
For a pick, actually.
Oh, you play the pick.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's fingerstyle on there. Okay. I it's funny that you mentioned that because I got a Spectre here that I love. I tend to grab that more than I do my guitars sometimes, just to get some groove going, right? And that's another thing about the Nite songs. They're fucking groovy, man. They all have this, you just want to move your body. Well, you saw me. I was fucking headbanging because it's like, I can't sit still listening to this shit. It's just too goddamn good, right? You know?
And that's part of, like, I mean, it's you know, just it could be a lot of things, but I would connect it to somewhat just the strong 80s influence that we're always trying to push, where, you know, songs were really identifiable and they did kind of have that, you know, unique beat or rhythm or signature. And, you know, we love stuff like Sabotage, like you were just talking about, and, you know, or Maiden or whatever. You know, this is a Gallup kind of feel song, Last Blade. And it's just great to have something to connect with, since we're not that extreme musically. You know, there's no blasting, there's no like really double kick. It's very like old school in that
which
sense.
Would be stupid with this music. It just wouldn't. It's not made for that. It's
not that aggressive. It's a different sound.
My buddy Rick down here, one of my longtime buddies, he says, I love how familiar your sound is, but yet it's still quite fresh with ideas. It's so on the nose, Rick, because I can touch this. I can hear this music right away and touch on
Bunch of-
Rainbow, and Thin Lizzy and old 70s
Van Halen, whatever. Plenty
Van
of
Halen, even for sure. But yet, at the same point in time, then I can say, but yet this stuff is so catchy. I mean, I hate to use the word poppy, but there is a bit of poppiness to
Mhm.
what the songs he's writing and the
Totally.
way you guys bring them to life, I guess,
Mhm.
is what I'm trying to say. So great point, Rick, there.
Yeah, thanks, Rick.
Yeah, so let's do a couple more tracks real quick. We won't go like big long. I don't want to
Sure.
get in too much trouble with
Yeah, season might be like, what do you
going, hey, this fucking guy just played the whole album like for free out there. So, but I do want to. So here is this song reminds me very much of a extremely famous 70s band. Okay. One of the classic rock bands of all classic hard rock bands.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you who in a minute. We'll play a little bit of it first. All right. Let's see if I can make this a little more streamlined quicker, guys, but I got to bounce between two windows. Okay, here we go. So good. All right, so super doomy, right?
Yeah.
It's got the doom going on, right? That song, if you had to guess of like all the classic 70s bands
Mm.
and their epic track, well, they made a lot of epic tracks, but I think this would be the epic track of most people would think of as being their epic. You want to take a guess who I'm thinking of?
I have two, but I don't know if you'll laugh at me for either of them.
Go for it.
I was gonna say Pink Floyd, and
Nope.
then I was gonna say Blue Oyster Cult were my two.
Oh man, I didn't even think of Blue Oyster Cult. That could definitely be like, yeah, it's got that kind of astronomy vibe where it's built.
Yeah, it's got that atmosphere and that kind of like, it's not real dense. Like there's space between the rhythm sections here and there's like that plucky guitar thing, and then there's a lot of air in between.
Do you want to take a guess, Avi?
Oh man, I'm stumped. I don't even know if we were thinking about 70s bands for this song.
I like this one.
Probably weren't, but what I hear there, I hear your Cashmere, man. That is like, it's got that,
Mhm.
and it's got that droney sort of thing.
Yeah, it's got that pedal sound throughout. Mhm.
Yeah, it just struck me as like, I could almost hear Robert Plant howling over top of it instead of Van doing the Lemmy thing. But another great track. And then I think this was the first single. I hope I didn't fuck this up. Crow was the first single, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So we got to hear a little bit of Crow because
Sure.
Crow has the epic rhythm chug of the whole album, man. I mean, the whole album is filled with awesome chugs, but Crow towards the end, yeah, that's the shit. That's the shit I want to hear right there.
Excellent.
All right, here we go. We'll do this one, and then we'll get into a few more questions.
Perfect.
And let me see here. That part right there, man. Again, the giant melody. I mean, I could play every track on here and wax poetically about all of them. They're so good.
Nice.
How do you feel once this was wrapped? Did you look after you got a little space from it, because you know how it is. Once you
Yeah. Like-
listen to these things 9 million fucking times, you're like, all right, I don't ever want to hear this album again for for a long time. Stepping back now a little bit, Avi, I'll start with you on this one here, and having some space. When was this done? How long ago?
Well, so I guess define finished recording, finished mixing, mastering.
Yeah, finished mixing and ready to be mastered. And
okay, so my memory is that we turned in the album summer last year.
oh wow,
Late
that long ago.
Yeah, like
Yeah, summer last year.
like August, maybe August, September, something like
That
that.
sounds right. Yeah.
All right, so what's cool about this is you're 9 months out from this almost, or at least 8 or 9, somewhere in that range,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't gather that you're driving around in your car listening to your albums all the time. I mean, that's just kind of right. Especially after you've been listening to it a lot for 2 or 3 months solid, right?
Right.
But playing those tracks for you, I was like, yeah, man, they're digging their own stuff. They dig this. That's the best thing ever, right?
I mean, I know for me personally. Oh, what's up?
How are you feeling about it right now? Now, just sitting here listening to those tracks, what were your instant thoughts and emotions?
Well, so there's two things here. One is this is just me personally. I don't want to speak for any other bandmate I've ever had, but
Sure.
I wouldn't be in a band where I don't like my own music. Straight up.
Wow. That makes sense. Yeah, true.
Yeah. No, I've put,
Mostly, some dudes do it for this, and but most don't, right?
whether it's money or even just friendship or hanging out, there's lots of reasons to play music and to be in a band. But at least for me, it's every band I've done while I was in that band, was so in love with the music, and that still holds true for Nite right now. And so, yeah, so it still makes me happy listening to that stuff. And at least for me, and this is with Cult of the Serpent Sun, this is with every record I've worked on or played on, all I can remember is just the happy times and the cool memories from making the album. So that's all the feelings and emotions that come back every time I listen to these songs. I remember tracking the bass and, with Van right there, running the session. I remember hearing Scott's guitar solo for the first time and nearly driving off the road for his solo in Winds of Socar, I should say, and getting so happy that I nearly drove off the road in excitement. I remember
not a good thing to do around San Francisco, depending on where you're at. Yeah, I know.
I remember in Carry On, staring in front of my laptop trying to dial in those fills perfectly so I know I can nail them when time to record. All of that comes flooding back every time I listen to these songs, and it's still so perfectly etched in there because the recordings exist.
Yeah. Scott, how about you? Because I could tell you were grooving on all those
Yeah,
as much as I was.
I think the guys, my pals in Nite are kind of sick of me saying this, but and it's cliche, but it's true. Every band says their new album is their favorite album, and they're so confident in it. But I don't know what else to say. I'm really excited. I do think you always hope you started this conversation tonight. You hope you can at least meet what you've done and maybe exceed it. We think we made a better album and we love Kronian Moon, but we think this one's so good, and I'm just excited for people to hear it. I hope there's that little bit of nervousness. Are people gonna get it? We'll see. But Jeff, you said amazing, wonderful things about it. I hope there are a lot of folks like you that connect with it, and I'm just stoked. I'm not sick of the songs. Luckily I did have that space, after between recording and release to
Sure,
kind of,
yeah.
Get a little distance from it. But it's just, I think it's good, and we're really proud of it. So
Oh, it's better than good, dude. It's fucking awesome. So
thank you.
I can guarantee you, every year at the end of the year, everybody does those album of the year things, and I resisted them for a while, but I was finally like, I got to do it. I guarantee you, right here now, this will be top 10 easy,
Woo.
probably top 5.
Bold statement.
I would be shocked if this isn't a top 5 album for me at the end of the year. I would be
That's
shocked.
awesome.
But I have one complaint.
Oh,
It's a big one. It's too fucking short, man. I need 3 more songs.
3 more.
Well, 2 more. Okay, 2 more.
Leave them wanting more, though. That's always the thing, right?
That's a good point.
You're better not to wear out your welcome, because even albums we all love, maybe it's a 9-track album, maybe it's a 10-track album or 11. There might be one where you're like, did they really, did they need that? Or they'll have like the soundscape song that's like, just,
the interlude shit.
Yeah,
right?
like what is that? And sometimes they're great.
There's no skippers on this album, start to finish. I mean,
that's cool.
We didn't. I think I will play one more track because Avi, you brought it up. I think I want to play that song that you brought up, and maybe we'll just really fuck with the whole algorithm, play the whole song. But we'll do that at the end here. What kind of plans are there? As we said, Nite isn't like a Metallica at this level. So, and you guys, I assume, all have day jobs that you have to, pay the bills with and everything. Yeah. What's on the horizon at this point? Do you have anything booked? Do you have European festivals in the summer? Do you have, that kind of stuff?
We have some things in the works. Since they're not announced yet, I can't
talk about it.
We can't talk about it, but yeah, we're gonna do some, touring this year. It won't be 3 months, because that's just the reality of a small band, and like you just said, we all have jobs and we can only get away for so much. But yeah, we're gonna do. We have some definite stuff planned, and then we're hopeful that we can maybe do some more, but it'll just depend. And we do have. We're gonna do an album release show that will be announced soon. That'll be a Bay Area thing.
In the Bay Area, okay.
Yeah, so the details will be out soon on that. So, but yeah, we have some things planned. We're really excited, like we said, just to play these songs for people after sitting with them ourselves for quite a while.
I'm assuming the album release show, you said?
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be in March, obviously, right? Oh,
it's balloons.
It'll be a little bit. It'll be like very early April is what we're looking at now, and that was just a combination of folks' availability and venue availability here in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So yeah, just things out of our control, but yeah.
Because I mean, I was just I don't know how recently you talked to Tom, Avi, but we talk pretty regularly, and I was out in December. I came out for 2 weeks. I hung out. Well, I went to Decibel Denver. I went to the Decibel Fest in Denver because I have friends in the Denver, Colorado Springs area. Did that, and then I went out, and I have a good friend that lives in Burlingame. So did the whole Big Sur thing. We went to see Chelsea Wolfe down in Santa Cruz, and then I got to see my first Death Angel show at the Great American. Which was fucking badass. They were so damn good. Necrot too, local dudes. So
yeah, was that one of those December shows that they do every?
Yeah, I saw
cool.
The Friday night show.
Nice.
I'm friends with like Craig LaCicero and a lot of the Bay Area dudes.
Yep.
So we got to hang. Craig Beerhorst, do you know Craig Beerhorst? Maybe?
Yeah, I know Craig.
Craig?
Through Tom, yeah.
All through Tom, yeah. I mean, Craig's awesome, man. And I guess what I'm getting at here is any chance I might be coming out to see Emperor in May because my buddies, I'm good buddies with John Holm and the guys in Agalock, and they're open.
Right.
So
right, yes.
It's kind of up in the air because I've got some health issues that I'm not sure I'm going to be able to travel with. But any possibility to get East, or is that not realistic?
It's realistic.
It's realistic. Yeah. Let's say that. Yeah. Because where are you at?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh,
like about an hour northwest of Baltimore or Philly, like either one. So
okay, all right. Well,
can't say anything. I get it.
Yeah. Well, no. Just to derail for a brief personal note. I just moved to Philadelphia.
No way.
Yeah, which was a big change, but Nite's still cool. We're gonna make it work, but
Right.
had some life reasons that had to move out here. So I'm not too far from you. So I'll see
Damn,
you
dude,
around.
you're close. Are you going to see Coroner this week?
I am. I'll be there on
I
Wednesday.
will see you at Coroner, my dude. I'm
Nice.
coming down. That's
Nice.
fucking awesome, man.
I'll
That'd
see
be
you then. That's great. We've connected
How
it.
about that? Like, see now, like I was thinking, I don't know if you guys are a Death Fest band because they don't typically do a lot. Maryland Death Fest, they don't typically do a lot of trad metal. Although they had Crypt Sermon playing, which they're more doom. But
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys could maybe you could Tribulations playing there.
Right.
That would so. But I was also thinking, talking Philly, Decibel
Fest. Yeah.
Decibel
Yeah.
in next April maybe.
Would love to get on that. Love to.
Oh, that would be perfect, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be down. Are you gonna be at that?
No, I'm gonna be gone for that week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
But
coming down for that. So when we get off here, I'll get your number. I'll send you my
let's
number.
connect.
We'll connect at the show then.
Nice.
So you got some shows, maybe some things in the works there. Getting to Europe, maybe.
We're trying. It's been tough. We've been talking to some people. People pulling for us. It's just we haven't been able to make it happen. Usually, I know from doing stuff with High Spirits and other bands that the most logical way to do it is to get on one or two fests,
right,
and connect the dots. Play like the week or two in between, and so we're hopeful. We just haven't been able to get on those fests yet. We've had some offers, but either the timing didn't work or it was only one, and we couldn't really justify the expense with just one anchor. We kind of needed two anchors, a lot of logistics. So
I would think you guys would be perfect for Keep It True would be perfect. I mean, definitely something like what's the one in Belgium? Alcatraz probably would be killer. Hellfest, of course, would be massive.
Yeah, they have everybody. They have
sure. But that would be a great one. And it's funny here. Oh, Rick's going to be at that show. My buddy Rick. He's from right across the river in Jersey.
I'll meet Rick too.
Yeah, he brought something up I hadn't thought about, but he's perfectly right on. Carl McCoy from Fields of Nephilim.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very Vanish sort of
interesting
sound. So
I don't know if that's in Van's musical world or not, or if it's just a coincidence, but that's a good point.
Probably a coincidence, but so good. So all right, we're gonna listen to I think I'm done. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to touch on that I didn't really hit?
I don't think so. We kind of it's just been great chatting, and I appreciate your enthusiasm for the album. It makes me excited to share it with more people, and
I'm not bullshitting you. Listen, man, I do a lot of these, or I do a fair amount of them. And we all, as musicians, we're all this dichotomy of fan and musician, and we're fans of other bands and other players, and I don't just listen to metal. I love Kate. I was talking about Kate Bush. I'm all over the map. Rush is my favorite band of all time. Nobody will ever replace them. Sorry, just saying. They are the holy trinity, the Canadian holy trinity. But I love Death. I love Fates Warning. I love Rainbow. I love it's like I love. You were talking about electronic. I love Aphex Twin. So but I would not be this enthusiastic if I didn't really dig this album. I just kept repeating it over and over, going, all right, you're going to get sick of this thing. And every time I'm like, oh, that riff right there. I want to know how he created that riff. So I didn't have Van to talk about
next time.
But I will tell you that listening to this album, super inspiring for me as a guitar player.
Cool. And that's good of a something as it gets.
Yeah. I mean, I just was listening to these riffs going, and this, Scott, as a player, you probably too, Avi, as a player, a lot of the times you kind of get stuck in ruts when you're playing where you're like, oh, fuck. I've written that riff 8,000 times now before, and I do that trick right there all the time.
It's circle,
So it's really cool to hear something somewhat new yet old that inspires you for me to, when this ends, to go over and pick up my acoustic and start beating around on it. Just trying to figure out the riffs and trying, because you're right, he does use some very interesting scalar stuff. He uses a lot of diminished stuff and harmonic minor and stuff like that, which is really cool. And that kind of, he's got a lot of Randy Rhoads. I hear some Randy Rhoads in there for sure. But guys, this album is just, I will say it's like I said out of the gate. I kind of was like, I don't know if it's as good as Kronian, and now I'm like, oh, it's as good as. It might be better.
Nice. Yeah.
That's a good place to be because but it does take. You got to get through it once or twice. It's
Mhm.
not. I'm not one of these guys ever that like. It's one of the main reasons I don't do a lot of reviews. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm doing one now with you guys live, basically.
Yeah.
But the one reason that I don't is because, well, two reasons. One, I'm not an immediate guy. I got to listen to something a couple
Yeah.
times.
Have to gestate.
Yeah, and then the other thing is too, if I do listen to something and I'm like, it's all right. I don't want to put that out there because
Right.
what if I do have an opportunity to interview the band and then they go, yeah, we heard your
Yeah, I heard you didn't like it.
yeah, you said it sucked, man. Like,
Right.
yeah, so that's a tricky bit there. But guys, I'm telling you, man, this is an album of the year contender. Easy peasy. So I will be talking this thing up throughout the year,
Nice.
and it's just fucking killer. So on that note, any final thoughts? And then we're gonna listen to Carry On. We're gonna just listen to the whole thing, and then we'll wrap. Sound like a plan?
Sure.
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Because I think Carry On is my second favorite track.
Nice. I just want to thank you for having us and appreciate your sincerity and like you really you get it, like the comments you said that show that you really engaged with it, and yeah, it's just awesome to hear someone that knows what they're talking about.
Listen, man, I'm gonna turn 59 at the end of in
Whoa.
31 days. I will be 59. Yes,
Whoa.
old fucker. Remember, Avi? When you guys, I was talking to you guys. You're all youngsters to me, right?
Yeah.
My kids are in their late 20s at this point, but nothing gets me more fucking excited than great music and great metal music.
That's what we're all doing, right? What are we doing with this life? Like we just want to enjoy it. Here's some good music.
We just want to fucking headbang, man. That's what we want to do. We want to raise our
Mhm.
our horns up, and we want to go to shows and cheer on our musical heroes. And you guys put together a beast of an album here. It's so good. Congratulations on that. Avi, got any final thoughts there, real quick, and then we'll
Yeah. I'll echo what Scott said. I mean, for you, Jeff, thank you for listening, for enjoying the record, for having us on a Friday night. That's your time. Like, you could be doing something else. So thank you, dude. Like,
I'm old. I go to bed by like 11. No, that's not true. Actually, I'm up all fucking night. But no, this is what I do, man. And I don't do it professionally or even semi-professionally like you guys do, is like getting out there. I used to a long time ago, but this is the shit that gets me excited about life. Just a great music it's transcendent, man. It does something to the soul, the head, the heart, the whole nine yards. And this is, please, I don't know if Van will watch this, if Pat will watch it, but you guys fucking knocked it out of the park.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, dude.
Really appreciate it.
If it just wasn't for that Mystic song, no, I'm just kidding. No, I really do dig that track now. I do think
Cool.
it's
a grower. It's
the outlier. It's definitely not like anything you guys have done before, which is cool. It's kind of a proggy track, which is, but it's not wanky though.
No, it's like a moody track.
Very moody. Yeah. So, all right, I want to thank you, Avi, for being in here, and hopefully you don't mind me calling you Avi, because I always when I talk to Tom, I'm like, hey, tell Avi this or whatever. And I was gonna say Tom's a good reference because he's actually played some pretty big shows over in Europe.
Oh yeah. The Carcass guys and Angel Witch,
Spirit Adrift, and so
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's great. It's funny. I was talking to him a couple days ago, and I said, man, because Tom kind of likes. How do I put this delicately? I don't know if I can put it delicately. He's a fucking killer guitar player.
Damn straight.
But he wants to be in Steely Dan.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. I love Steely Dan. But he also kind of plays a style of music that isn't quite Steely Dan most of the time, right? And I said to him, I'm like, hey man, and Scott, please don't take offense to this at all, okay? It's just, I said, hey, if they ever need a guitarist in Nite, dude, you would fit perfectly. And he goes, yeah, but I hate the vocals. I hate the vocals. He doesn't hate the vocals. Avi, he's not a big fan of And it just blows my mind because when I met Tom, I'm like, dude, you played in fucking Carcass. How the hell you play in Carcass when you hate those vocals? I don't get it. Like, how's that work? You know?
I mean, Tom's first off, Tom's family. Like, you know, I've been doing it with him for 4 years, and he's become a true dear friend of mine.
That's great. I love Tom.
He's a fabulous bandmate, a fabulous musician, and more than any of that, just even a better friend. And like,
I was blown away. Oh, he's here. Here he is. There he is.
I saw
I didn't even know he was here, and I was talking shit on him.
Now he knows.
Oh, Tom, he's not a actor. He was in the lab for the first half of this thing.
What's that?
Oh, he's asking about my cats. One of them is here for like the first 45 minutes.
No, just to be clear, Tom and I are good buddies, man. We actually got to meet finally when I came out. We went into Berkeley and went CD shopping at Rasputin's and went out and got shitty fucking Taco Bell food that took like an hour and a half to make. It was insane, but it was so great to hang out with him. And but no, I mean, so no, Scott, I'm not trying to replace you with Tom. Just so we're clear on that.
Not at all.
So we're clear on that. But yeah, Tom's a killer reference for this kind of stuff. So
definitely.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Scott. Sorry.
No, just echoing what you said. Yeah, Tom's a journeyman. He's been there. He's done a lot of great stuff.
Absolutely. I know what I was going to say. Avi, I'm sure you've heard it, but his solo album.
Oh yeah.
Tom's solo album.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, dude, this shit is fucking killer, man. He's just a juicy player. I call him a juicy player because he just comes up with really cool melodic solos that are fantastic, and he's a great musician. So
yeah, natural.
All right, Tom, there I stroked you a little bit, all right, bud? Sorry. Did you guys want to hear a specific track, or are we cool with carry on?
Do what you want, man.
Carry on, go for it.
All right, we're gonna end with this, and then we'll wrap right after I play this song.
Cool.
And we're gonna play the whole track if you guys don't mind.
Sure.
So good. God damn, man. I mean, I could have played any track on this album and my head would have been moving and I'd have been grooving. I mean, that's such a groovy track.
Yeah.
But it's just got so much killer guitar work going on, man. I mean, it's, you know, if you're a guitar player, this album is for you big time. So that's not to minimize Pat's contribution as a drummer. He's a super solid drummer. Avi, I can hear the one song. There's a one. I want to say, is it the Skull where you have the real? You're mimicking the melody lines of the guitar on the bass.
I follow pretty close.
Oh wait, I got the sorry.
Echo.
Yeah, I got to take that off quick. All right, there we go. Sorry about that.
You're all good. Yeah, so Skull, I do follow the guitars pretty close on the chorus. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking of, the chorus. Yeah.
Easy. Yeah.
But really, this whole album is just dripping with orgasmic guitar work. So I cannot. I mean, I know it sounds fucking weird, but it just, if you're a guitar player that loves it, like I am, that loves this kind of harmony stuff, you guys do it better than virtually anybody in the metal scene right now. So I wanted to ask you real quick, Scott, and then we'll roll out. What kind of gear you use? Are you using Ibanez?
No. For Nite these days, I'm using usually either I have a Vigier Excalibur or an ESP E2 M2.
Yeah, I know.
So those two are my Nite guitars.
The Burl one that I see a picture of you with.
It's the same release, but it's the like the faded kind of blue aqua one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the Burl one, but it's the same family.
I'm a big blue aqua guy.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Dean. Awesome.
Yeah, Dean Caddy. I just got this back. I don't know how to fuck with.
Oh, the Floyd. Yeah.
Floyd's at all.
I stay away from Floyd's.
So I took it to. Believe it or not, you guys remember the band Live?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
So, yeah. So Chad, they all live locally pretty much around. I live in Lancaster, by the way.
Okay. Yeah.
And or in that area, and so he has a shop called Tone Tailors that's over at Tate Towers, where they call it Rock Lit. It's where all the big, Metallica comes here. In fact, I think Aerosmith was just here not too long ago, and I had never been in the store, but it's called Tone Tailors. So I took this in to have it reworked, and I dropped it to D standard, which is cool because I've never really tried to write in D standard, so it gives you a different perspective of sounds. But I love that aqua.
Yeah, it's a great color.
Vibe too. But I thought you were playing an Ibanez. That's why I was like, because I just got.
I've had Ibanez's, but not in.
Just got that, like a.
Oh yeah, Destroyer.
Yeah,
love it.
An older one. It's 2002. So music and guitar nerdery. That's my whole life at this point.
Same, man.
Well, listen, guys, man, it's been fucking killer talking to you, man. I hope, I hope big things for the album. It's so good that everybody needs to hear this.
Yeah.
I hope. I'll be talking it up big time amongst the people that I run with. Scott, I will connect you when we end here. I want to get your phone number, and we'll hit you up, and Rick and I'll connect with you. Rick will probably buy a bunch of beers at the show on Wednesday night.
Excellent.
Avi, it's great seeing you again, man.
Yeah, good seeing you after so long.
Are we gonna see a new Hands of Goro somewhere along the line, or?
Somewhere along the line for sure. I mean, we've got a whole bunch of songs written already, and we're probably gonna demo them probably any week now.
Oh, really?
And, Yeah, no, this is one thing about Hands and Goro that is fun is that we're prolific in our own way. We may not be like pumping out home demos, but when we jam, things happen. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Is
So
there
yeah,
any other peripheral band stuff going on you guys want to mention real quick?
I know on my side, my death metal band Wretched Stench just put out a single literally about a week ago. That was pretty cool.
Where can you get that at?
Bandcamp, Spotify, Tidal, all the services. It's all there.
Okay, cool. What's the name of the band again?
The band is called Wretched Stench.
Wretched Stench. Yes. So nasty sound.
So stinky.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and my last band Vorlust is going to hit the studio in April to record the second.
Yeah,
album.
who's in Vorlust? I know. Is that Greg Wilkinson? No.
So we have Sonny Reinhardt who plays in Rod. We have Marcel Marai who also filmed and directed our music video for Crow.
Okay.
Incredible job.
Big shout out to Marcel.
Yeah, I put that in the description. I'm pretty sure I dropped it in there.
Yeah, and our second guitar player is Dustin Ponko, who plays in a band called Depagus out of San
Yeah, I was thinking of, I know that band too. I was thinking of Sonny. I met Sonny at the Death Angel show, hung out with him, him and Craig Beerhorst like the whole night. It was fucking awesome, man. Sonny's great.
Sonny's a great dude.
And he plays, I believe he plays Destroyers, I think.
He does love his Destroyers.
Yeah. So, Scott, what about you? Got any big stuff?
I have a couple shows with High Spirits. High Spirits will be playing at the Hell's Heroes Fest in Houston.
Coming up, in a couple
weeks. And then we have some European Fest dates coming up in like September, October, and we're working on stuff around that. But so look for High Spirits in Europe in the fall.
Okay, so I have to plead a little ignorance here.
No, it's okay.
High Spirits is kind of a black metal band, right?
No, it's very classic metal. It's more like I guess.
I'm sorry, I was thinking of Spirit Noir. Sorry.
Oh, right, yeah. Hell Spirit Noir. Yeah, I like that band.
Hell Spirit.
No, High Spirits is like Scorpions. Maybe
I'm all over it then.
Like very, very positive. Arguably, it's very, very.
I'm all over that then. I'll definitely check it out. And it's funny, you just said positive. Strangely, as Nite is kind of wrapped in this mystique of darkness and all that stuff, the music is not dark. It's very uplifting. It's epic. It's
motivational in a way.
It's so kick ass, man. It's just fucking kick ass. That's all I can say, man.
Yeah.
It's so good. Wishing big things for you guys. We'll go into the triple mode here. Congrats on a killer album. Make sure that you let the other guys know. I'm sure you will.
Will do.
This guy didn't stop masturbating about the album, man. But yeah, it's just absolutely killer, and I'm hoping for big things for the album. And I do have in the links, there is links in the description to Facebook, Bandcamp,
awesome.
Instagram, Season of Mist if you want to order direct. I made the mistake of jumping on last night and ordering a bunch of shit. So most of it was your stuff. So
thank you.
Shirts. I already have some shirts, but and a band I didn't even think about. When I pulled this out of the closet, I didn't even think about it. But there's, Sortilege.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
French heavy metal. From the '80s, very reminiscent. You guys, very similar vibes.
Yeah. There's a darkness to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's dark, but it's epic.
Yeah.
It's epic without being Man-O-War cheesy.
Right.
I know a lot of people love Man-O-War, so I'm not going to shit on them, but they're not my thing too much because of the cheese factor. Right. There's no cheese with Nite. It's just killer riffs, killer melodies, great propulsive tracks, most of them. Like forward-moving tracks, and they just make you want to move and get it. So
it's working.
All right, man. Well, it worked for me. That's for damn sure. So now I got to go take a cold shower. But
awesome.
But yeah, man, this is killer. Thank you so much for doing this. Super stoked to help in any way I possibly can. And hang on one sec. We'll end there then. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, good night, everybody. trying to think. I don't think there's anything upcoming for a couple days. We'll see. There may be some interviews next week, and I'll update people as we get to them. But there is going to be a Psychotic Waltz deep dive coming up with Hunter Ginn and Jeff Wagner. So that's a big one right there. I'm not sure. We'll probably do it about mid-March. And if you don't know Psychotic Waltz, you should. So there you go. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, sir.
Hang loose 1 sec, all right?